CQ, the Old Friends Net. CQ, the Old Friends Net. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ, the Old Friends Net. This net meets 3 times weekly, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. and Sunday evenings at 5 p.m. The net is conducted in the amplitude modulation mode, carried out in the roundtable format. Any station that can generate an AM signal is welcome to participate. The focus of the net is mainly on vintage equipment, but any rig running AM is certainly welcome. So, stations wishing to participate in the Old Friends Net, give WA4LLR a call and come now.
N4LQ.
K4GDN.
WB4ARK.
W4MEC.
KF4DRN.
It was, he did do the test to see that it wasn't.
Heard are N4LQ, K4GDN, WB4ARK, W4MEC, and KF4DRN. Do we have any others?
November 4 Alpha Kilo.
Recognizing Glenn, N4AK. Anyone else? Alrighty, one more time, N4LQ, K4GDN, WB4ARK, W4MEC, KF4DRN, and N4AK. Any other station? Alright, good morning to everybody. We've got about 56 degrees, mostly clear skies it appears, and a pretty quiet band on this end today. And hope everybody's doing well on this 18th day of September. Summer is rapidly coming to a close and fall is almost upon us. In fact, 4 more days, I believe, of summer. I think the solstice is on the 22nd of this month. So, summer has been fast this year, it appears. Good time to look for auroras around the solstice. So we'll keep our eyes open and see what's going on. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We'll go down to the city of Pleasant Living. Steve, I think you're coming up to the Asheville get-together Saturday. Hope to see you out there. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Okay, WA4LLR, N4LQ. Yeah, I plan to be there. I'm going to pick up the Hammerlin amplifier on the way. The guy is in Black Mountain, so he decided rather than throw it in the dumpster, he's going to give it to me. So I guess we'll make it part of the collection here. I think those are one of the things in Boatacreville that are just about obsolete is an amplifier with only 811 or 572Bs, I believe, that came with those. Just 2 tubes and no tuned input, which kind of puts them at a disadvantage. So there's not a whole lot of demand for that type of amplifier unless you're running a low-powered boat anchor. And I suppose it'd probably be a nice thing to use with the likes of a Ranger or something. So yeah, I plan to be there, and since Asheville and Black Mountain aren't too far apart, and we had a great night on 160 last night talking about the old digital modes like Amtor and so forth, and how fun they were. Nobody operates them anymore. So I had some QSOs yesterday on PSK31. It's interesting that everybody has gone to FT8 digital mode, and all it is just reports with no conversation. Well, I think people are starting to get burned out, and they're switching back over to the original PSK31 and actually having nice long rag chews. So I enjoyed a few of those yesterday, and I'm glad to see that come back. It gives you sort of something, a diversion, something else to do. So George, here it comes, K4GDN, N4LQ.
N4LQ in the group, K4GDN. Yeah, that is interesting about the PSK31. That's the only digital mode I've ever gotten into, and I still have it on one of my rigs here. This morning we're operating the Ranger 2, and I'm receiving on an HQ145X. This we'll call this the W4WZ Memorial Station. I'll talk a little bit more about that the next time around. And that's interesting about that I guess it's 592B Hamlin amp without a tuned input. The homebrew 811 amp that I'm using or have used in the past, it originally did not have a tuned input in the circuit in the I think it was the 65 handbook. But Fritz W4NTO was very adamant when I was building that thing that it had to have an input circuit. And because I didn't have a switch with more than 4 positions on it, I ended up just getting 75, 80, 40, and 20 on the input and output to the circuit. But it did work very well. This is something that Fritz was very, very much adamant about, and he supplied really all of the pretty much all the components that I use on the input circuit, and I do use it quite frequently here. Generally, I'll put an attenuator ahead of it if I'm going to use the Ranger or the multi-LMAC with it, because it does do quite a good job. And that Hamlin amp, that is kind of an interesting circuit. I remember you bringing that up on the emails before. Anyway, everybody seems to be coming in well here. I guess the subside activity's died down a little bit, but we had, I guess it was last Tuesday when things were real crazy. And I saw that they mentioned that on the news, on the local news. I guess it was Wednesday or so. Anyway, no more comments on it. So with that, it goes to you, buddy. WB4ARK in the group, K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4ARK. Okay, George, very good copy. Looks like my output is back up to normal now. It was suffering on Tuesday, so I guess there was an issue at the feed point of my antenna. I dropped the antenna down and pulled the coax connector loose. Checked the balun to the antenna, all read very good, and so I had a dummy load connected to the feed line on the inside, and it read proper. So I hooked it back up and tightened it down really good, and so it changed the feed on the transmitter, and I guess that's what was going on with my signal. Probably was not getting enough drive to the antenna itself. And I guess it was affecting my output, because I noticed my my Collins watt meter, SWR meter here, is reading about I don't know, 15 to 20 watts higher output now than it was before. So hopefully everybody will hear me a little bit better. So, over to Charlie, W4MEC, WB4ARK.
Hey, buddy, WB4ARK. And the group W4MEC. I hope I was on frequency. I more or less zeroed Dave there at the beginning, but I noticed when I caught the very end of Buddy's transmission, I might be a little off. We'll see. Anyway. Good morning, fellas. Everybody's booming in today. George, you're a little light. Actually, it's reverted back to normal for me, that being that George is weak and everybody else is just fine, especially Buddy. I don't know if that 15 watts made any difference, but you're back up to booming in level here, so maybe it was something else besides that 15 watts, because sometimes you can hardly tell any difference with that little power change. Anyway, I don't know what the temperature here is there. I've got two thermometers that say 48 and one that says 53, so and all depends on what side of the house you're on. So the one that's up in the air 12 feet is saying 48, and the one on the back of the house says 48, but the gadget inside my heat pump says 53, so who knows, somewhere in the ballpark. And nice blue clear sky this morning, great moon out this morning, and everything is beautiful as the song says. So let's see how Greg's doing down there. KF4DRN, W4MEC.
W4MEC, KF4DRN. Good to be in here this morning, Greg, in Newmarket, Tennessee. Temperature's 59 degrees, what it's showing here. And Charlie, I was up to meet you at Waynesville Hamfest, I believe it was. About a signal generator up on the side. No URM25D, I think it is. Anyway, they think all signal generators seem like I'm having fun restoring those old things and checking them out. But the other day, my oscilloscope stopped working. I don't know whether it's the CRT bad in it or both. It's an old Tektronix 422, an old one, you know. And anyway, good to be in here this morning because it's going to be a pretty day. And my trouble yesterday was trying to get my license renewed for 10 more years. Had VE on the phone as well as FCC. So the FCC guy talked to VE talked him through how to do it online. So it was a fiasco, but we got it done, and I'm really glad of that. I was starting to worry because it was going to run out this month. Anyway, I'll pass it on around. Here comes Glenn in 4AK, KF4DRN.
Okay, good morning, Greg. KF4DRN, Newmarket, Tennessee. Not too far from Morristown, I see. This is November 4 Alpha Kilo in Sunset, South Carolina. Greg, nice to meet you. Nice to have you join this group. You've got a nice signal down here. I forgot to look at the S meter, but it was S9 plus. Buddy, you were 30 over 9, so this morning you're about top of the heap. Sunny over here in Sunset. It's going to be 62 degrees today. No rain in sight. High of 82. We're on our little FTDX10 this morning, SB200. A couple of weeks ago I noticed the SB200 wasn't putting out much juice. So with 15 watts of drive, I was not being able to get much power out. So anyway, with all the drive I needed, the max was 300 watts, so normally 572 Bs. And an SB200 will give you a good 600 watts on a 120 volt line. So I've got a pair of 572 Bs at about half power if anybody needed them just for maintenance work or something. If not, I'm going to throw them in the trash can. So back up to the top of the list. Dave, WA4LLR and 4AK.
All right, fine business, Glenn. The FTDX10 sounds good up here today. Let me stand by. Do we have any late check-ins for the old friends? Come now.
Whiskey 9 India, X-ray, X-ray.
All right, W9IXX. Do we have anyone else? All righty, Phil, go ahead and tell us something and give it back to me. W9IXX, WA4LLR.
Okay, fine business. Boy, it sure helps to be on the right antenna. WA4LLR, W9IXX. Well, I guess I can't do very well when I'm on the stepper vertical that's set up for 60 meters, which I was on last night. So I couldn't figure out why the signals were so low and what's going on. And so I guess I got to wake up. I haven't had my breakfast yet, so that'll be remaining. Anyway, a good morning to everyone, and I'm not sure who's on the list here, so anyway, a very good morning to everybody, and I intend on being at up there by Ron and the group up at the Asheville Museum, and maybe I'll throw a bunch of stuff in the car again and see if anybody wants any of the stuff I got, try to clean out some more here. So, okay, coming back to you, WA4LLR in the group, W9IXX.
W9IXX, WA4LLR. All right, real good, strong. I think this is about as strong as I've ever heard you over here. So you're doing a great job. Greg, sorry the scope died. And glad you got your license renewed. Charlie sounded good this morning. And Glenn, Buddy, you're back up to your normal big signal. Congratulations. George the Ranger 2 sounds good, and Steve, good luck with that Hammerlin amp. I had one years ago. It was not my favorite, but anyway, hopefully you can get some use out of it. I've got a phone call here I've got to take, so Steve, pick it back up. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
All right, WA4LLR, N4LQ. Well, Dave is like as strong as Buddy. Buddy he hit 40 over there, Buddy. That is amazing. And I really couldn't follow what. I guess you really didn't find exactly what caused the problem. And I'm curious how you had a bad connection. Yet I don't know if you were talking about the power meter in the shack or if you actually used an SWR meter. It seems like something would have really shown a fault somehow. But I think I would have taken the dummy load and put it out at the end of the coax and taken a look at that. There must be something wrong out there. It's intermittent. But yeah, you were up to 40 over at one peak. And Dave has the loudest audio. He about blows me out of the room. And I'm not sure if he's on the BC610 or what. Let's see. Charlie, I was going to ask you about your heat pump thermometer. If apparently you have a thermometer inside the heat pump that gives you somehow gives you the outdoor temperature. And I think I have seen that feature on some heat pumps, and I guess it's got something to do with monitoring the outdoor temperatures so it will know when to activate the heat strips or maybe a humidifier, a dehumidifier, or a humidifier. I guess it would be a humidifier. So I don't know. You might elaborate on that one. Greg, glad you got your license renewed. I guess you're talking about your driver's license, and that's a big issue all over the country. This real ID thing has got everything messed up, and people are. And I think Charlie mentioned the other day something about some changes that might be coming along, and I hope he's right. something about the vision test being done at your eye doctor instead of going to the DMV. I kind of thought maybe my eye doctor might be able to test my vision better than the Department of Motor Vehicles. I don't think they're actually eye doctors. Anyway, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the Hammerlin amplifier, but I just, you know, it's kind of a keepsake for this guy's dad. He worked at Hammerlin's Mars Hill factory for probably many years, and he retired with that amplifier and finally passed away. So it'd be a shame to lose it. I'd like to see it put to use in some regard, but we'll try to figure out what. And Glenn, okay on your 572Bs that have gone kaput. Well, maybe you can make doodads out of them. Drill some holes in a piece of wood and glue the thing down and make a lamp out of it, or something. I've got a couple of 100 THs, and let's say a 100 TH and a 250 TH that I don't tell my wife, but I snuck them in there on the shelf that has all this fancy glassware, and I've got them sitting in there, and it's been like a month, and she hasn't noticed it yet. Looks better than that junk she has. K4GDN, N4LQ.
N4LQ and the old good K4GDN. Yeah, copying everybody fairly well here this morning. There is a little bit of QST in there, but other than that, things are going well. And as I mentioned, the equipment I'm running today, the Ranger 2 and the HT145, were purchased while Joe Gov, W4WZ, was president of Spartanburg Tech back in the early 60s. And to the best of my knowledge, they were never even turned on probably for maybe 30 years or more. I know when I taught during the mid-90s, I taught the electronic side of the electronic technology department. I didn't get involved with the computer stuff. The guy that was basically the head of the department, he handled the computer stuff and stayed away from the electronics. They did the back to school to get one of the courses. Anyway, I got these equipment out of the schoolroom and had them out on the bench and I was showing it to the students in the communications class. And I had to come in and come up on the roof so I could get the school horses. And I had the equipment out of the cabinet showing it to them. And demonstrating with the Ranger 2 that a neon light bulb would light up when you got it close to the tank shop and the speed. I had one of the gallon paint can type cameras that was also in the storage room. Apparently never been used. Anyway, when he saw this after the class, he made the comment to me saying, how much voltage is present in those pieces of equipment? I said, well, 300 volts, the transmitter ground 500. I said, oh, we can't have the students around us. And since the equipment was so old and the value was so relatively low, it was no longer in the equipment list in the department, he said, we need to dispose of those things. I said, well, I'll certainly take care of that. So I did. And it's interesting that Joe Brown, not only was the president of the Department of Tech at that time, he was the first president. He had been the principal of the high school in Rockville that Riley Hollingsworth attended, and he gave Riley Hollingsworth his novice exam. And Riley was a great friend of Joe's, and if I'm not mistaken, Riley did speak at one of the old Friends lunches sometime in the past, and he was also at the Department Club as a speaker. And he and Fritz were big friends too. So anyway, this is definitely some of the old stuff, some of the original old Friends type stuff. So with that, we'll pass it on to Mr. Buddy, WB4ARK and K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4ARK. Okay, George, very good story there. Well, Steve, it was all done, you might say, experimentally or scientifically, let's say. I put the dummy load on the inside so I could measure the resistance of the coax without having to come back inside and do the thing around my little road. I could make one trip. And so the connector that connects to the bottom of the dummy load is a PL259. So apparently either it was not properly tightened, or maybe the sleeve center conductor contact was not making good connection. I don't know. But the ammeter on the ART13 was not reading properly. It was reading low. And the watt meter, SWR meter, it's a Collins unit. You've never seen those? They come in the station unit. And they read wattage and SWR. And I have one set up on the input to this transmatch right out of my transmitter, so I can tell what the power is or what the SWR is, and I can tell when my transmatch is properly adjusted. So it was reading less than 100 watts. So the power was definitely down, but reception was fairly good. And I've noticed that to be true many times before. When you're not coupled correctly to your antenna, you'll be receiving okay, but your transmitter will not be feeding power to the antenna properly. Anyway, so Glenn, your signal is very good this morning, very strong. And the band conditions are extremely quiet today, except for all that chatter on the side. It sounds like a saw running. Never heard such noise. It doesn't show up on some signals because your signal is so strong you override it. But George, his signal's a little bit less powerful, and so I can hear this buzzing going on the sideband. I don't know if it's upper or lower. I haven't gotten up to check it or change the selectivity to see if I could cut it out. Just live with it. Anyhow, and complain about it. So your signal is really good today, Charlie. Everybody's got a good signal. Except Greg, his signal's a little bit low. So over to Charlie, W4MEC, WB4ARK.
Okay, buddy, WB4ARK in the group W4MEC. Real good. Go around. George, you come up a little bit. Good solid copy on that transmission. A good interesting story there about that gear. Steve, I guess there's some kind of temperature sensor in there to decide. I think in my system it changes over to gas heat around 38 degrees, and I think it looks for that. And it just reads out on the little digital display, the thermostat in the house, and it tells me outside temperature, and I can change them. It's got a menu option. I can look at outside humidity and stuff like that. So I think that has it's like in an automobile, you get a temperature reading on usually like your rear view mirror or something. They're actually looking at, I think they're looking at the sensor that goes into the mass air sensor, because they measure the input air temperature for the computer to set different parameters, and I think they just tap off that and send it to the display. So, well, I hope to make Asheville, but no guarantees. I got a soccer game to attend to on my grandson, and we only got one vehicle right now, my pickup truck, and my wife's car is having some serious body work done to it. The only guy in Hendersonville that still repairs stuff in metal, and it's got, you know, rust along the, I don't know what you call that thing, the rock guard right there, right below the doors from front to back. Rock guard, whatever it is, anyway. Suburbans have an interesting problem in this era, 2002 or so, and you know, you got a pickup truck, just your standard pickup, a Tahoe and a Suburban, and that rock guard comes in 3 pieces depending on what vehicle they're building, and they weld them together. So Suburban's got the longest all 3 pieces are welded in, and at least that's how they did it back then. And something happened 2001, 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there. They didn't plate the metal or treat the metal properly, and it starts rusting right there right in front of the rear wheel. So anyway, and you can go on Amazon and you can buy those things, all the brand new rock guards, all day long for about $100 for I think you can get like 3 of them for $100, and you can cut out the old stuff and weld in the new and all that. Anyway, he's doing that and a little more extra work that has been repaired before with fiberglass screen and Bondo by other shops, and that's all coming apart, bubbling, and like I say, he's the last guy in town that repairs stuff in metal, and I just sort of make it last here. Don't have any plans on buying a new Suburban. I might buy a new motor at some point to put in it, but at $100,000 a pop, I ain't buying no new Suburban. And let's see, you were talking data modes. You know, Tom, WA4FJQ, he uses some weird mode. I tried it one time. I forgot what it is, but he says it suits his operating style fine because he has other interests that he works on, and he can get on this mode and he can type a message or he can answer a CQ. And I tried it just for the giggles and grins, and it takes like 20 minutes for just to send a message one way. I don't understand the darn thing myself, but just going, you know, call sign DEW for me, see how you doing over there. I might get a response in 20 minutes later. So, and then I'll read it, and then you type in something you want to say and send it, and it goes there. I guess it takes 20 minutes or so to get to him and then back. You know, it might take round trip 40 minutes to get a simple question answered, but somehow, you know, he does a lot of stuff in his shop, and he tinkers away, and he gets the message, and he reads it, and then he sends off another one. So he says, this is great for me. I can pursue my other hobbies and ham radio at the same time. So well, you mentioned FT8 dying off. I hope they're dying off on 6 meters and refine their key and their microphone and start talking and sending CW again, because talk about a wasteland. FCC is going to take that 4 megacycles away if people don't get on there. Let's see. Phil, last comment. What did you do? I don't know if it's on your vertical. I don't know how well the other fellows are copying you, but you are booming in. I've never heard you that strong in Hendersonville. So, let's see. Oh, back to Greg. K4 DRN, W4MEC.
W4MEC, KF4 DRN. Anyway, most of you guys are sounding good this morning. There's one station real light on me. I couldn't hear very well. I replaced the battery in the disc microphone yesterday, and I hope I've not got my mic gain turned too high or too low. I'm indicating about 40 watts and running the gain through it. I don't have the Meritron AL811 turned on or tuned up for this frequency, but however, the wire dipole is resonant right here really good, really resonant. So I'm glad of that. I don't have to use a tuner or nothing. But on 3885, I do have to use a tuner just a little, you know. But anyway, I hope it's working okay. I guess I haven't heard anybody complain other than weak signal from one station. But anyway, I'll pass it on around. Let's see, and 4 AKs to take it. Here it comes. KF4 DRM.
Okay. Okay, Greg. Phil, you go ahead and take it. I need to take this call. I'll come back.
Okay, fine business, Glenn. 10-4-18 the group W9IXX. Well, again, very good morning to the group now that I've heard everybody around. Interesting here. I'm just running a Pro 3 in AM mode and driving it into the NFED, which really has been up for a long time. And if it's directional, it's pointing that way, probably north-northwest is where it's probably pointing. Anyway, thanks for the information. Oh, excuse me. Actually, Glenn, so far you're probably the strongest, so I don't know what. I'm not a propagation guy too much, so anyway. I did have, let's see, one real quick question here. I'm looking at a call-in on 40 meters, and it says CQ-CW BOTA, B Bravo Oscar Tango Alpha, BOTA. So I don't know if that's boat on, maybe it's boats on the air. Anyway, interesting. And I appreciate the comments. Couple of quick things on the licensing. I went and had my license plate renewed. Just for information purposes, if you're going to renew your license plate tag and you want a new plate, that's the time to do it, because then there's no charge. Otherwise, there's a charge. So what I did is went and renewed my tag, and I asked her about a new plate, and she says, oh, well, you can do it right now when you renew, and there's no charge. So she canceled my tag, original tag thing that I did, and then got me a new tag with a new license plate renewal. And they did it right at the tag store. So it was really worked out nice. Also, on the inspection, I had to have the car inspected. And of course, currently in North Carolina, I think it's $13.50. Well, the first of this upcoming year in 26, it's going to go to $30. So your inspection's going to go to $30 at the first of the year. So probably make sure if you can get your inspection done, to do it before the end of the year if you want to save a few dollars. And the only other comment I got quickly is I thought I saw a note somewhere, maybe on the reflector, about a DX100. There was something about fusing and all that. I looked at my files, and I have very little, but I did find a sheet in there about if you're having instability problems with the DX100, if you put 100 ohm resistors in series with the screen grids of the output tubes, the 6146s. So just a comment, and I got the note in case anybody, maybe I'll run a copy in and have it up Saturday, so we'll go from there. So Glenn, I hope you're off the phone and back with us, N4AK in the group W9IXX.
Okay, yeah, I'm through. Is that all right, Dave, if I take my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, good. Phil, you're 15 over 9. Dave, you were running 25 this morning. Steve's 30, as well as Buddy. They're the two strongest in here. Had a little QSB on George, but he was still about a 5x9. Greg, looks like you're okay. Your pending application, I checked on the FCC Word website, so they've got a number up there. Your pending application for renewal is 0011752 so it looks like you're good to go. You fellas remember last week we talked about a skunk on the back porch. Well, this morning we looked out there and there was a little bear fixing to come on the back porch. He was a cute little fella, but we scattered him off and looked around and no mama bear, thank goodness. And Steve, I wonder if that Hamlin amp is a HXL1. I had one and it 572Bs ran about 500 or 600 watts with a Ranger, no problem, but it did not have 160 meters, and I could not find the upgrade kit for 160. They're apparently worse on made. Buddy, that noise you're hearing is those fellas on AM down the band, 3725. I don't know why they couldn't get a little bit farther away, but there's one guy on there, KD1I, over in Dahlonega, that he's so strong that he just splatters everywhere. That's all I know. So anyway, so let's see, it's been enjoyable visiting with you fellas this morning, and I will turn it back to net control, WA4LLR N4AK.
Okay, Glenn, really good, beautiful signal. One more standby. Any late check-ins? Come down. All right, nothing heard. Well, Phil, you were peaking 30 over in Burnsville. So this is absolutely the strongest I've ever heard yet. If you haven't made any changes, yes, you said you were running the Pro 3 and an end-fed, then we must have some super band conditions, but I've never heard you this loud in my life. And Glenn, sounds like you're moving up in the world. You've gone from skunks to bears, so that's great. I remember one day my wife and I were sitting in the house having lunch. We looked out the window, and there was a mama bear and two cubs out in the out on the front deck, helping herself to the bird feeder. I got some pretty good pictures of them. Let's see, Greg, 40 watts are doing really good. You're 20 over up here. No problem with the FT840. And everybody's strong. George is not as strong as everyone else, but the Ranger 2 is doing a good job. And buddy, you are just blasting up here. So excellent conditions today. As far as space weather goes, sunspot count's 119. Solar flux index is 147. The K is 2. So pretty good. A few items from this day in history. On this day in 1793, George Washington laid the cornerstone for the Capitol. On this day in 1905, Greta Garbo was born. She was a fairly famous movie star. On this day in 1960, Fidel Castro arrived in New York to be at the United Nations. On this day in 1970, Jimi Hendrix was found dead, for anybody that's into music. On this day in 1973, President Jimmy Carter filed a report of a UFO sighting that he saw while he was waiting outside the Lions Club meeting in Leary, Georgia. On this day in 1975, Patty Hearst was captured by the police, if you remember that episode. And this one I found quite interesting. On this day in 1987, a multitude of people were poisoned because a cancer therapy center had closed and left behind a treatment machine containing cesium-137. They left it in their abandoned office. Sometime later, some thieves broke in, stole it, sold it to a junkyard. The junkyard workers dismantled it. They found this fascinating glowing blue stone inside, gave pieces to friends, and 4 people died from the exposure, and multiples were hospitalized. So that was quite a mess. Anyway, that's a little bit of today in history. So we'll do at least one more round. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Okay, get things calmed down here. Yeah, this is N4LQ. I think that's what you call toxic waste. Man, oh man. All right, yeah, we'll see. Glenn, yeah, I think that is the HXL1 Hammerlin amp. I was just looking at the schematic, and it's got one fuse, a two-prong power cord, 117 volt AC it says, with a 15 amp fuse, and no fusible plug. Of course, that would be unusual. I don't know of any amplifier that had a fused plug, but it's only fusing one side of the cord. So there again is the mystery of Heath, Kidd, and Johnson and their strange fusible plug. I don't think anybody's got. I think it was something that those guys came up with. But Glenn, real fine on the skunk. I think it works like if you see a skunk on your back porch, it means a bear is soon to show up. Something like that. I don't know what that means. Anyway, thanks for the explanation, Charlie, on that heat pump. Sounds like they've managed to make it complex with more things to go wrong. I don't know, but I didn't realize you had that must be one of those package units with the gas furnace outside along with a heat pump. Correct me if I'm wrong. That could be what you've got. We had one of those one time, and one time we got struck by lightning. It took out the relays in that thing somehow, but it worked fine except once we got a big wasp nest in the little vent. It's got a little fan in there that blows the gas fumes out, and during the summertime the wasp took it over since it never came on, and then the next winter it wouldn't come on because of the wasp nest, and somehow I managed to get stung in the process. And that was interesting about the rocker panels on your Suburban, and only one guy does metal work. That's maybe, does that mean that the newer cars don't rust anymore? I think that's just about true, except maybe up in the northeast part of the country. So, and it's also interesting about the digital mode that Tom FJQ is using, whatever it is. I don't think I'd want to fool with something that took that long to transmit a message. So I did find a software that's supposed to do Amtor ARQ mode with a handshake and all that. So I'm interested. I would like to find somebody that would load that on their computer and work with me on trying that, just to see if it does like it used to back in the old days. Anyhow, that's about it from here, so I'll turn it on over to George. Hope you're copying okay. K4GDN, N4LQ.
N4LQ in the group, K4GDN. Yeah, I'm copying fine. The only station I'm having a little problem with are Greg and Phil. And Glenn, you're coming in quite well down here today, over here in front of me. And speaking of the funny fuse plugs, I still have that plug on my Ranger 2, and according to the schematic, one fuse is 3 amps and the other one is 5 amps. The 3 amp fuse is rated at 125 volts and the 5 amp at 250. That's kind of strange. But I also have hardwired ground on all of my chassis in case something goes wrong. And I am feeding the Ranger is being fed through a step-down bucking transformer because of my high line voltage here. Anyway, it's been a good morning here, and I enjoyed it, and be interested to see what you come up with that Hammerlin amplifier there. As I mentioned, when I built my 811 amp, I put a put a tube front end. Maybe you could do an external circuit on that and not have to modify it, and it might work a little better with some rigs. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Buddy and say 73 on this round. And Dave, thanks for calling the net, and look forward to being in here probably next Tuesday. So with that, Buddy, it's coming to you. WB4 ARK in the group, K4 GDN.
K4 GDN, WB4 ARK, okay. George, very good copy that time, and thanks, Dave, for calling the net this morning. Our carrier AC furnace unit, when they built the house, I saw the type of thermostat they were going to use. I said, no, I don't want that, one of those round things. I said, I want one of the setback thermostats where I can control the times it comes on and goes off, etc. So I got one from Carrier, got two actually, one for upstairs and one for downstairs. And they both have a thermometer reading position, and you can actually put a thermometer, a resistor type thermocouple out at some point. I forget how many feet, 200 feet, something like that, from the thermostat itself, and then push the button and you can read the outside temperature. So I've got two places to measure the temperature, and they pretty well coincide with each other. That's pretty interesting, just to check the output sometime of the thermostat sometimes to see what the temperature is. Well, guess that's about it. And it's overcast today. I wouldn't say heavily overcast, but moderately overcast. It's been that way since early this morning. And so I don't know what's going to happen, whether we're going to get some rain or not. So we'll see. And like I said, thanks, Dave, for calling the net. And over to Charlie, W4MEC, WB4 ARK, clear.
Okay, buddy, very good. W4 ARK in the group, W4MEC. Okay. Let's see, Steve, it's a split system, compressor and condenser fan outside, and the inside is an evaporator and coil, and the burners for the heat are right there. Let me think, are they above or below it? They're above it. The burners are above the A coil, and gas burners. Have no trouble with it. It's 17 years old now. Lost the start cap in the compressor. Combination start cap for the compressor and the condenser fan out there. $30 and back in business, so maybe it'll last another 17 years. We'll see. I hope it does. It's a train. Can't stop a train, so it's still chugging along. Yeah, I got to bail out of here too. Good to talk to you fellows this morning. I need to run and pick up my wife and bring her back. And I'll be glad when that car gets fixed, because I don't like doing that. Early mornings, 5:30, 6 o'clock. I've been getting up to get her out of here. So, but anyway, thanks for running the net, Dave. And we will look for you fellows later on down the log. So 73 all, KF4DRN, W4MEC.
W4MEC, KF4DRN. 73 to everyone checked down. I guess I'll check out too on this one. But good to be in here this morning, and I hope everyone has a good day. And guess I'll go over and start doing a little experiment and try to learn as I go. So anyway, pick picked up some test equipment here a while back. I'm kind of new to oscilloscopes, and of course, that one I got was an old one. Is an old one. And anyway, I've been pondering the idea about a new oscilloscope. I don't know. They got some good prices on some of them. I don't know how good the scope is. It's the only thing. I guess they're probably made in China. I don't know. But got a little bit more learning to do about oscilloscopes before I make a decision as to whether to get one or not. One of those new ones. But anyway, I'll say 7.3 on this one. I'll listen a little bit here. 7.3 of the one. KF4DRN, and I'll pass it on to N4AK to take it. 7.3.
Okay, Greg. By the way, your license has already been renewed 09/29 through 2035. Did you copy that over?
Yes, I did.
All right, so you're okay. All right, it's been very enjoyable this morning. Nice to hear you checking in with us, Phil. And I put the TL922 online last night. I had to change it to 120 volts, that is the nicest amplifier in the world to change the voltage. Gee whiz, that little panel in the back is just a well thought out situation. And let's see, I don't know if you fellas know about, there's a computer outfit called BlairTech, BLAIRTECH. They do refurbished computers. And I bought two lately, about $200, $250 for a computer with the Windows Pro 11 and 16 gigabytes of DRAM memory. And they've all worked fine. So if you're looking for a little computer to put in your shack, they're very, very small, by the way. Of course, you got to furnish the keyboard and the monitor, but you already have that. So thanks again, Dave, for doing the net for us. And Phil, over to you this morning. W9IXX N4AK.
Hey, fine business, Glenn. N4AK and the group W9IXX. Boy, I'm glad to hear everybody. George is a little weak TDM. Not real good copy, but a lot of QSB. And actually, Glenn, you're about the loudest. You're really pounding in here next to Dave. Dave is doing great here also. So that's good to hear up there in Burnsville. And actually, I'm located in a little place called Cross Keys, North Carolina. It's not really a town anymore, but it had a post office at one time down here on Route 9, pretty close to the South Carolina border, is where I'm at in Green Creek. But if you look up Cross Keys on the map, that's about, I don't know, a couple hundred yards from me. How's that? So anyway, it shows up on the map, but Green Creek doesn't, so that's interesting, I think anyway. And okay, Glenn, I'm glad that the TL922 is working out for you. That's good. Yeah, I had a good time with it here, and really tried to take care of it and make sure it stayed proper. So, okay, I want to send it up to you, Dave, and I'll listen around here for the last go-around. WA4LLR in the group, W9IXX.
Okay, Phil, fine business. W9IXX, WA4LLR. Well, good group this morning, good conditions, and always enjoy it. So, fellas, I'll say 7-3, God bless. And let's see, Lord willing, we'll catch up with you. What is today? Thursday, so Sunday. Anyway, hope to see several of you at the Antique Radio Museum in Asheville Saturday. So everybody have a great day, and Lord willing, we'll do it again. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, closing this session of the Old Friends Net. 7-3.